The second way to become the best is to obsess over your fundamentals. Mastery isn't found in the fancy. It's not built in the complicated. It's born in the basics, in the simple things done with ruthless consistency, over and over, long after most people have moved on, long after it stopped being exciting, long after it became boring. You see, that's where the best are hanging out. Everyone wants to skip steps. Everyone wants the next level. Everyone's chasing strategy. But the ones who dominate, the ones who lead, who last, who become undeniable, they are obsessed with the simple things. They're not above the basics, they are built on them. You don't rise by doing extraordinary things once in a while. You rise by doing ordinary things at an extraordinary level. Every single day. You sharpen your skills until they're automatic. You drill the same pattern until your body doesn't hesitate. You don't just know what to do, you become it. Most people get stuck not because they're untalented, but because they get bored. They abandon the process that got them here. They look for shortcuts. They want novelty. They start experimenting instead of refining. They start winging it instead of executing with precision. But the best? They don't need variety to stay locked in. They need mastery. They need the same reps, the same sets, the same notes, the same drills, until they feel them in their bones, until they become instinct, until there's no hesitation, until their floor is higher than most people's ceiling. If you want to be the best, stop looking for something new. Look deeper into what you already know. Study your craft like it's sacred. Break it down, rebuild it, refine it. Study your movements. Study your decisions. Study your rhythm. Track the details. Obsess over the edge. Because excellence lives in the details. There's no such thing as too good for the basics. When it starts feeling easy, you don't move on. You go harder. You go deeper. You push the tempo. You push the precision. You push the intensity. You don't just check the box. You squeeze every drop out of the process. The best don't practice until they get it right. They practice until they can't get it wrong, until execution becomes reflex, until confidence is built on hours of proof, not moments of hype, until their foundation is so strong that nothing can shake it. Not stress, not fatigue, not pressure. You can't skip your way to the top, and even if you could, you wouldn't stay there. The people who skip steps always get exposed. When things get real, when the pace increases, when the pressure hits, they break. Because their base was weak. Because they built speed before skill, flash before foundation. But if your base is solid, if your fundamentals are locked, if your habits are unshakable, you don't break. You don't panic. You don't hesitate. You just execute. And you execute better than anyone else. Not because you're more talented, but because you're more prepared. Next, the third way is simple, and it's to become unreasonably consistent. Not occasionally consistent. Not when it's easy consistent. Not when I feel motivated consistent. Unreasonably consistent. So consistent that people start asking how you keep showing up. So consistent that your habits are no longer tied to your mood. So consistent that discipline becomes part of your personality. Because the truth is, talent will fail, emotion will fade, motivation will vanish, but consistency will keep going. Consistency will carry you through the valleys. Consistency will protect your progress when life tries to knock you off course. Most people are committed when they feel like it. They follow through when it's convenient. They train hard for a few weeks and then disappear for a few more. They journal for 2 days, then stop. They go all in for a weekend, then burn out. They start strong, but they don't last. That's not how greatness works. You don't become elite by showing up when it's sunny. You become elite by showing up in the rain, in the dark, on the days when everything in you wants to stop, on the days when no one would blame you if you skipped. That's where the separation is created. The ones who become the best aren't the ones who had the most natural ability. They're the ones who made a decision that said, no matter what, I show up. No matter how I feel, I execute. No matter the conditions, I perform. That decision, when repeated daily, becomes identity. And identity is where all your results come from. You don't need more intensity. You need more frequency. You don't need to sprint for 3 hours once a week. You need to show up for 30 minutes every day. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You need to keep the chain going. You need to show yourself over and over again that you're someone who doesn't stop. Even if the session is short, even if the work is ugly, even if you're tired, even if it feels like you're not making progress, you still show up, because that's what pros do. That's what leaders do. That's what the best do. Consistency is the great amplifier. It multiplies everything: effort, intention, focus. You might not notice it day to day, but over weeks, over months, over years, it compounds, and it creates a gap that no one can cross unless they've lived with the same level of discipline. You won't see immediate results. That's why most people quit. They think their habits aren't working because they can't see what's being built. But something is being built. Every time you follow through, you're casting votes. You're stacking proof. You're reinforcing the identity of someone who keeps their word. Eventually, your baseline becomes better than most people's best because you've repeated it so many times. You've made it so automatic, so ingrained, that even on your worst day, you're still in motion, still growing, still building. That's the level you need to live at. Not because you'll feel like it every day, but because your goals deserve consistency more than your comfort deserves a break. Your vision deserves habits more than your feelings deserve a pass.